This is my audience. In celebration of Mother's Day today, I would like to share a story about my mom. And I think this story is very telling of her character. And it's my favorite story about her. My mom grew up in the Seattle area with her family, and they were really big into skydiving. Almost the entire family would skydive together. So my mom grew up with skydiving. She did quite a few dives, and then by the time she got to about high school age, late high school, early college, her and her skydiving buddies decided they wanted to create a team. Now the key thing about having a skydiving team is you have to have a matching parachute, a matching rigging set, and a matching uniform, so that when you're doing aerials and maneuvering together, you all look like one team that's actually together. So being relatively broke college students and late high school students, they managed to buy matching parachutes, and rigging sets were fine, but they couldn't really get together enough funding for an outfit, so they went with the cheapest option they could think of, which was their birthday suits. So it was a team made up of men and women. The men went up in one plane and the women went up in another. And with the women came one extra skydiver who was going to film it all. So he was not going to be in any of the formations, he was just going to be outside of them, watching in and filming it so that they could each have a copy of their own film. So they both get up in their own planes and they get to a certain altitude and then they all jump together. They're doing their routine and doing all their formations that they need to do, and the cameraman's off to the side and he's filming everything that needs to be done, and then they all land. So the cameraman says, I'm going to make all of you a copy and then I'll delete whatever I have so that only you have this copy, because it was a bunch of older high schoolers and young college kids naked skydiving, and he figured this probably shouldn't get out into the public. So everyone gathers up all their gear and they leave, and everyone gets their own copy. Fast forward 2 years, my mom and her significant other at the time decide to go to Norway because they both went to university there at the time. He and my mom both were into skydiving, and so they went to a popular drop zone in Norway to check it out and see if that's something they wanted to do. And while they were meeting the people and hanging out at the drop zone, a bunch of Norwegian skydivers got together and they started looking at some films that they had found that were from around the world, all these adventurous skydivers. Well, my mom looked over their shoulder and she was hanging out with them, and so she starts watching some of these videos with them until a very familiar looking video comes up on the screen, and it is my mother in her birthday suit skydiving with all of her friends in their birthday suits. Fortunately, nobody in the group caught on that it was my mom. They didn't recognize her. My mom decided she did not want to skydive at this drop zone, just in case they did eventually recognize her, and went on with her life in Norway with her significant other. And then when she returned to the States, she continued skydiving, but she never skydived in Norway out of fear that somebody would recognize her from this film, which apparently the cameraman had not actually deleted.